Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, generally or traditionally, you could say, in our custom, fathers tend to not change the nappies. Now, even of the boys, it has been the job of normally the nurses, because traditionally you would find most Muslim families would have someone working in the house, older sister, the mother who has just given birth, even if she's resting for next 40 days or so during her postnatal period, they would just spend their time doing nothing. And our elderly ladies would say that you have to eat for about 40 horses worth of food before you could do some work. And that myth was because they felt in exertion during labor, they have almost emptied their energy stores and they have to refill it. Now obviously there's 90% myth, maybe 10%. There is a lot of stress which doesn't take more than a few days to get settled. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already made it very self-explanatory. But anyway, that's beside the point. The idea is that we have plenty of people around who could do that. So men tends to not need that at all traditionally. But nowadays, we live in the West. We do not have luxury of having our parents living with us or in-laws around us. Some of us may have it, but mostly you live as a single unit with your wife and maybe one or two children. So obviously there's a need for some help. So for that reason, it's perfectly fine for the husband to do so. Changing the nappy of boy or girl doesn't matter at all. They are their mahram, number one, and they are nabaligh. So there's no problem with that at all. Now there may be some men, which is only a very, very small fraction, who tend to get sidetracked just by even changing the nappies of women. If they have that sort of over-excited sexual drive of some sort, which, as I said, is literally less than 1%, then they need to avoid it, obviously. And everyone knows. And as I said, this is not norm at all. People wouldn't have any problem changing the nappies of their daughters. And that's perfectly fine. And it only happens up to the age of maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 years at the most. Normally it's quite earlier on that the children get weaned off all that support. So when they're small babies and there's a need for husband to be there to help the wife who's recovering from her postnatal period, then they must try and do that. There's no harm in that. Shar'an, there's no problem at all.